Bumpier flights, scarier skies. Why plane turbulence is getting worse. Flying through the skies may no longer be as smooth as it once felt. A growing body of research and recent in-flight incidents suggest that turbulence, especially the kind that occurs without warning, is not just becoming more frequent but also more intense. The underlying reason, experts say, is closely tied to climate change, which is altering the behavior of jet streams and atmospheric conditions globally. Turbulence is defined by the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) as the normal and frequent movement of air that can affect an aircraft. It often strikes without warning and can be caused by a variety of factors such as atmospheric pressure, jet streams, cold or warm weather fronts, thunderstorms, or mountain ranges. There are three main types of turbulence. Each type can range from mild to severe. Severe turbulence occurs when the vertical motion of the aircraft creates a force greater than 1.5 grams on the body, strong enough to lift an unbelted passenger from their seat. This makes it particularly dangerous if passengers or crew are not strapped in. CAT is especially tricky to avoid because it is invisible to pilots and cannot be picked up by radar. It typically occurs at cruising altitudes, above 18,000 feet, where most commercial aircraft fly. Multiple studies, including one from the American Geophysical Union in 2023, have shown a clear link between rising global temperatures and increased turbulence. The AGU study found that skies are 55% bumpier today than they were 40 years ago. The increase in warm air due to carbon dioxide emissions is intensifying wind shear in jet streams, particularly over the North Atlantic, and strengthening CAT globally. Professor Paul Williams, an atmospheric scientist at the University of Reading, warns, we can expect a doubling or tripling in the amount of severe turbulence around the world in the next few decades. For every 10 minutes of severe turbulence experienced now, that could increase to 20 or 30 minutes. He further explains, climate change is warming the air to the south of the jet stream more than the air to the north, so that temperature difference is being made stronger, which in turn is driving a stronger jet stream. Turbulence hotspots are no longer limited to the North Atlantic corridor. New projections suggest rising turbulence in East Asia, North Africa, North Pacific, North America, and the Middle East. India, too, is projected to experience a significant increase in clear air turbulence. A 2023 University of Reading study estimates that CAT over northern India could rise by 100 to 200% between 2050 and 2080, particularly during the pre-monsoon months March to May. This spike is expected to align with broader climate-induced atmospheric instability across South Asia. While fatal incidents due to turbulence remain rare, with only 4 estimated deaths since 1981, in-flight injuries are more common. Between 2009 and 2023, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) recorded 40 passengers and 166 airline crew members who suffered serious turbulence-related injuries. These include bone fractures, second or third degree burns, and hospitalization for more than 48 hours. Recent incidents have highlighted the risks. In May 2025, Indigo Flight 6E2142 from Delhi to Srinagar encountered severe mid-air turbulence caused by a hailstorm. The crew's requests to divert via Lahore or Amritsar were reportedly denied, forcing them to continue through the storm. The aircraft experienced rapid altitude loss, with descent rates of up to 8,500 feet per minute, before landing safely in Srinagar. The radome was damaged, but there were no reported injuries. On June 22, 5 people were hospitalized after an American Airlines flight from Florida to North Carolina experienced extreme turbulence. Passengers said one person was knocked unconscious and a flight attendant suffered burns from spilled hot water. Earlier that month, a Ryanair flight to Milan was hit with turbulence, injuring 8 people, including a 2-year-old child. According to the International Civil Aviation Organization, turbulence was responsible for nearly 40% of severe in-flight passenger injuries in 2023. Alongside the physical risks, the psychological impact is also growing. A recent YouGov survey found that more than a fifth of UK adults are now afraid of flying, with worsening turbulence cited as a common fear trigger. With both safety risks and operational costs mounting, airlines are beginning to feel the financial pressure. Avtec, a technology company working with the UK Met Office, estimates that turbulence costs US airlines between $150 million and $500 million annually. These expenses include aircraft maintenance, compensation for diverted or delayed flights, and rescheduling logistics. Eurocontrol, the European Air Traffic Coordination Body, adds that rerouting around turbulence-heavy areas can also increase congestion. In 2019, bad weather forced aircraft to fly an extra 1 million kilometers, resulting in 19,000 tons of additional COA emissions. NAN forecasting and mitigation efforts have improved in recent years, but turbulence cannot be entirely avoided. Professor Williams notes that around 75% of CAT can now be predicted, up from about 60% 2 decades ago. Pilots use weather radar and detailed flight plans based on computer models to anticipate turbulence zones. Reports from other aircraft and air traffic control also help during the journey. Some airlines are also revising in-flight service protocols. In 2024, Southwest Airlines in the U.S. shifted its policy to end cabin service at 18,000 feet instead of 10,000 feet. The airline believes this move could reduce turbulence-related injuries by 20%. Korean Airlines, meanwhile, stopped serving hot noodles in economy class, citing a sharp rise in turbulence since 2019. Indian carriers, including Indigo and Air India Express, have begun updating their pilot training modules and in-flight safety protocols in response to rising turbulence incidents. According to an Economic Times report, these airlines are focusing on improved handling of clear air turbulence scenarios, which are becoming more frequent due to climate-related shifts in jet stream behavior. NAN while several experimental technologies are in the works, most remain far from implementation in commercial aircraft. Artificial intelligence may one day play a key role. Ricardo Vinuesa of KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and his team have developed AI systems that simulate airflow over wings and refine turbulence predictions using machine learning. Turbulence might just be the perfect application for AI, he told the BBC. One such technology, Fourier Adaptive Learning and Control Falcon, is being developed to read airflow across a wing in real time and adjust flaps to counter turbulence. However, experts believe such innovations are at least decades away from becoming standard on passenger flights. In Austria, a startup called Turbulence Solutions has developed a wing flap sensor for light aircraft that reportedly reduces moderate turbulence by up to 80%. Meanwhile, research inspired by barn owls flight mechanics is exploring hinged wing aircraft designs that might better withstand sudden gusts. NAN while new technologies and better forecasting tools are helping airlines manage turbulence more effectively, there are basic precautions passengers can take to stay safe. Keeping the seatbelt fastened at all times, even when the ride feels smooth, is one of the most effective ways to prevent injury. It is also advisable to avoid moving around the cabin unnecessarily, especially when the seatbelt sign is on. Choosing the right time to get up and returning to your seat promptly helps reduce risk during unexpected jolts. NAN and beyond airlines, regulators are also responding. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation (DGCA) has begun responding to the growing turbulence threat. Following a May 2025 incident involving an Indigo flight, the regulator ordered corrective pilot training and issued revised guidelines prioritizing safety over on-team performance. These protocols instruct pilots to divert or turn back early when facing convective storms, wind shear, or unexpected mid-air instability, maintaining a minimum buffer of 20 nautical miles from dangerous weather systems. The DGCA has also issued updated cabin safety protocols aligned with international best practices. These include earlier turbulence briefings to crew, immediate announcements when turbulent conditions are expected, and quicker suspension of food and beverage service to ensure passengers are seated with seatbelts fastened well in advance. In 2021, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) recommended that the FAA issue stricter seatbelt guidelines for both passengers and flight attendants during flights near thunderstorms or under 20,000 feet. These steps were intended to improve preparedness for sudden turbulence and reduce the number of injuries caused by unanticipated movements during descent or ascent. Swipe left for next video. And as global weather patterns continue to shift, turbulence is likely to become a more routine part of flying. While advances in aircraft design, AI, and forecasting offer hope for smoother journeys in the long term, the simplest protection remains staying buckled up. For now, awareness and caution may be the best tools passengers and airlines have in navigating bumpier skies. Latest blogs.